Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are back with another Neurodiversity Stories, and I'm your host. My name is Darren Clark. So, why are we putting these Neurodiversity Stories together? And I want to tell you, because we want to create a community of people all helping to raise awareness for neurodiversity on a global scale. So as always, guys, we can't do this without you. So if you please do, let us know where you're tuning in from. This channel reaches into around kind of 15, 16 different countries. We get an abundance of people that watch it on the replay. So if you're watching on the replay, again, reach out and just let us know where you're tuning in from. And again, obviously, if you're listening to this on our podcast or watching this on the YouTube channel, please do feel free to leave a comment. Again, if you're enjoying it, and again, where you're tuning in from. So as always, guys, we have another incredible guest. We have Lucy Kemish. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Lucy is going to be sharing her incredible journey with us. She's going to be talking about how she was diagnosed with a cyst in 1999, and as a result, diagnosed with dyspraxia. Her journey and her accomplishments are second to none. Honestly, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal welcoming Lucy onto the show. So please feel free to grab a coffee and sit around for that. I also want to say a massive thank you, as always, to not only all of our previous sponsors, but our current sponsor for our Neurodiversity Stories, Claro Writer Helper, have been fantastic. And I just want to share this with you.
If the thought of writing essays fills you with dread, then you need Claro Writing Helper from Claro Software. Our intuitive, easy-to-use software takes the stress out of essay writing by giving you 7 clear, easy-to-follow steps to help you organise your thinking, develop the flow, capture snippets from documents and websites, and produce great essay content. Contact us today to start your free 15-day trial and say goodbye to essay writing anxiety.
So a massive thank you to Claro Writer Helper. So Claro Writer Helper is to reduce the overwhelm and stress when creating long structured pieces of writing. The software does that by both teaching the processes for creating this structured work and also guides you through this process by helping you to focus not only on the things that are important at each stage. All the details of how to get in contact with them are going to be on the blurb and in the comments as well. So do please reach out for them. So guys, what we're here for is to hear stories, have conversations, to connect with people. So again, feel free to tell us where you're tuned in from. I'm going to be welcoming my incredible guest next. I was going to actually read out all of Lucy's bio and accomplishments, but the trouble is, if I do that, then I'm going to kind of give you a sneak peek into all of the amazing conversation we're going to be having. So all I would say is Lucy is doing incredible work in the social media and marketing sphere. She's doing phenomenal work with her clients, and she has got an incredible story that she wants to share. So sit back, enjoy, and please let me welcome Lucy. Good morning, Lucy. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucy. I know how incredibly busy you are, and to come on onto the story. So I really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy Friday morning to come and join us.
Oh, it's great because I think like we all like you say in your videos, we all have a story to tell, and it's really important to share them. But going live never gets any easier, does it?
No, I think we're on kind of 26, 27. I lose count, probably 27 episodes. And no, going live never is a walk in the park. But do you know what? I love that element of it because you honestly don't ever know what you're going to get. But
the element of surprise.
Absolutely. Lucy, I've been a big fan of the content you've been putting out. And obviously I've seen, and seen the stuff around your story. So I know, quite a bit about yourself, but it'd be amazing if you wouldn't mind letting the viewers and listeners know a little bit about you. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So I guess to start off with, it's probably best to start with kind of why I'm here.
Please do.
diagnosed with dyspraxia, and it was about 1999. I had a subarachnoid cyst, which was operated on, and as a result of that, it's likely that it was that was the cause of my dyspraxia. So obviously, like growing up with kind of movement difficulties and planning difficulties was actually quite difficult. Even kind of uneven ground, stairs. I can still picture a time I was in about year 9, I think, when actually I tripped up the stairs in school, fell flat on my knees, and it really hurt. And do you know what? That's the only one time I can remember falling over and it really, really hurting, but it really, really did.
Yeah, well, it must have done. To recall it in your memory, it must have given you, a lot of pain. So that must be, really difficult.
The tile floors, not carpet. But yeah, so and kind of, I think people don't realize how much you struggle, because actually a lot of the time you just get on with it. It's just life, isn't it, for you as individuals? But that doesn't make the struggle any less.
Yeah.
So, people will never see those kind of essay writing dreads that go on behind closed doors because, and people say that, I find that hard too, but it's on a different level. And I don't think people ever will understand that.
No,
that kind of level.
I agree, Lucy, and I guess it's, for me, it's sometimes it could be, writing an email, or it could be, putting out a social media post or something, and for some people it could just be a case of, you're from that kind of background with the social media, which we'll touch on shortly as well.
Sure.
But that, to be creative and then say you've got a piece of content that you want to put out. For me, with dyslexia, it could be a case of, there's so many different avenues to think about. How is it going to entice the viewer to kind of, to either click on it and to see, and all these things go on. And then you've got the added bonus of that, the added struggle, so to speak, of then creating that and then making sure that that's spelled correctly, or making sure, how you work. So even just, and someone else could think, well, actually, that's a good post. But like you said, it's the work behind it. Sometimes it can be, really quite challenging.
Yeah, and I think it takes so much energy and effort to do anything that I've recently been diagnosed with chronic fatigue, so that's not helpful. But actually, the dyspraxia does cause fatigue, and everything. I remember just coming home from school every day and just being absolutely kind of wiped out, because everything does take a lot more effort and a lot more thought about how you do things and how you go about doing things. So yeah.
So what kind of, for people that the beauty of this channel is, one, to have incredible guests, like yourself on, but we also kind of do it for people that's not kind of au fait, I guess, with neurodiversity. So people that either aren't don't have dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, or these things. So they come on this channel to kind of learn a little bit about the guests. What would you say, kind of within your kind of worms, how it kind of affects you?
I think growing up, so growing up, it's kind of seen as, I guess, clumsy. You're always falling over, you're always banging into things, you've always got bruises, you're always tripping over your own feet. But then it kind of, your difficulties kind of, they become different as you've got new challenges. Yeah. So those things are still there, but they're less so. There's definitely, I want to say got better, but the difficulties I face now are more to do with kind of planning, the thought process, how I come across, those kind of interview skills, which are more difficult. Whereas actually, when I was in school, that they didn't really matter.
Yes. When you take, thank you for sharing that, Lucy. I really appreciate that. When we look at, say, if we take planning, for instance, sure. In the adult world, we were only just discussing, weren't we, offline, kind of the adult, I never really feel like I'm kind of you get to adulthood and you think you should know everything and everything, but you're always continuously learning. But with regards to, say, if we take planning, for instance, when you're in a job, or maybe it's planning schedules or content or work or anything else like this, do you have a kind of any strategies that you found that kind of kind of help? Because you're incredibly great at working around things, because you have to be in the job you're doing. You're meticulous in what you do, and massive credit. Have you found anything that kind of helps yourself with that?
I think because my planning is poor, I overcompensate quite a lot. So like I've got post-it notes everywhere. My phone calendar is like full of everything I've got to do in the order I've got to do it. Notebooks, alarms. So if I've got somewhere to be or somewhere to do something to do, the alarm goes on so I don't forget, where I'm.
I noticed when we spoke and we were saying about the time, and you messaged back and you said my alarm is set for such and such time, and I thought that's a great way of planning.
Yeah, so that then everything's sorted by that time, and I don't have to kind of stress that I'm not where I'm needed to be, and like all the other stuff's got sorted, like the dog's been taken out, the cat's been sorted, so and always leaving enough time for that sort of thing.
Do you feel like you're always kind of? I feel like I'm always trying to plan something for something. I don't know if that's just the way it is. Always kind of planning for something to plan. There's always
and I absolutely think that's. But I think that if that's how you work, if that's how your brain works, then why not? If that helps you, then.
You mentioned about postage notes, and I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'll just show you here. This is a scrap of paper. This is just a scrap of paper that I've got,
Sure.
and I know, and there's loads of it around. But I know, if someone else was there, they'd have it kind of maybe some paper written properly. This, and this. But for me, stuff like this kind of. It just helps. I don't know. I don't know if I was able to hand it over to someone else and say, okay, so this is what you need to say here. This is what you need to do here. It'd be going, it doesn't look structured from the outside world, I guess.
No, and I think like as long as it works for you, then there's no big deal. The only problem comes is when you've got to, like you say, hand it over to somebody else, or if you were ill and you have to hand it over to somebody else, then there's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
I always tell this kind of the story of when I was back in kind of when we had our cleaning companies, and I for some reason I've got a lot better now, but I would have a pad of paper and I would just write in the top right hand corner of each piece of paper, and it was kind of just about that much of each page, and I would just jot that there, and then I'd move on to the next piece and then write something else. So when I'd come back from an appointment and I'd had a kind of 45-minute conversation, I probably used 26, 27 pages, and then
only top right.
Then you have to hand that over, and someone goes, okay.
Yeah.
But I have got a lot better in that sense of handing over those. But I guess sometimes if a structure works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Why not use what works for you? And I think you've got to work to your individual strengths, haven't you?
Absolutely. So Lucy, so tell me a little bit, because what age were you diagnosed? I mean, you had that you found out about cysts, and then what kind of age, if you don't mind sharing, what age?
About 7.
Okay.
6, 7.
And then so what was kind of school like, in the sense of did you find it more trickier, or did you have support, or were you kind of you knew that you could do something a little bit different? How did that kind
of school was quite tricky, but I don't remember anything. I don't remember very much pre-cyst.
Yes.
So
quite young.
So all I can remember is pretty much like what life's like, or what life has been like since.
Yeah.
But I would say school was definitely more tricky. And little things like getting trained for PE and things like that, for me was quite difficult.
Yeah. And then then obviously leaving school, going into the workplace, what was that kind of like? Because I guess you would have had, a certain element of support within school if people knew that you needed the support. Was that correct?
Yeah, so I had well, up until GCSE, I didn't have any support for my exams. And then in A levels, I thought, okay, now's the time to probably get something sorted. And they found that my writing speed was so much slower. So had I had that support earlier on, who knows, maybe I would have done better, or, but, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? And so leaving school then, going on to kind of university, again, brings its own challenges, doesn't it? Leaving home and all that kind of normal stuff.
Yeah.
But then like little things like I think that people take for granted, like making dinner. If you're making like, I don't know, a spaghetti bolognese or whatever, even like a simple task like chopping onions just takes so much longer.
Okay.
And I do have a new gadget now, which is brilliant.
What's that? Pray do tell.
So you just like roughly chop it, and then so it can be quite big, and then it goes in a pot, and then you pull a string, and it chops it for you. It's got like a rotating thing.
See, that's the kind of the neurodiversity side, I'd say, that kind of out the box thinking,
Yeah.
I can get around this because, it is a task that takes quite a bit of time. So
yeah. And opening tins and things like that. And I've got an electric tin opener, which is brilliant.
See, and this is why we say, where people talk to me a lot about the kind of assistive tech. Would you use it? I'm a massive fan of, assistive technology, but I'm also a fan of, again, making things a little bit more simpler, for yourself. When we go back to cooking, for me, I love baking. I love baking more than I do cooking. If I'm honest, I probably find baking a little bit more easier than I do with the cooking.
Sure.
But I'm terrible. It's almost like I've had the entire family around for a Christmas banquet after I've just done one meal. So if I'm baking, I have to, before I start something, so before I put any heat to anything or any ovens or anything else, I weigh out everything. I go through the process of the cookery book or what I'm doing, and I'll weigh out every single ingredient. I'll have a plate for something, a bowl for something.
Yeah.
So it's like completely prepped. And then it's a case of, right, I'll add that, I'll do this, and that's all I can kind of focus on. My partner can, she can, do so many different things, and she's off and she's doing this. If I'm cooking, I'm just literally, I'm cooking.
Yeah, I don't like cooking at all.
I think it's, I've got, I've seen it a lot, and people, do some, really amazing things with the cooking. They just find it so easy. I guess if you do it more often, more confidence, that comes. But it does seem when there's a lot of ingredients or there's a lot of things to do in consecutive orders, it does throw me.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan, to be honest. I try and avoid it.
Lucy, so what was kind of the workplace? What kind of work did you? Because I know you're in the kind of the creative work now with social media and marketing and that you do. Have you always been creative? Has there always been that kind of element of that to you, or?
I would say not. Definitely not.
Okay.
If anything, I've always struggled with my creativity. So, like, if you'd asked to write a story in English and stuff, that was never a skill I had. But I think I had to find something when I was in the speech and language world. I was a speech and language therapist, but then I became ill and had to change careers. And it was more about finding what I could do now, which fitted around my chronic fatigue. So it was more a case of, that's actually quite tricky, because I was thinking kind of, what's my skill set and what can I do from home?
Yeah.
So I came up with social media because my mum actually said, you've got a bit of flair for it, so why don't you try it? Why don't you reskill, retrain and try it out? And so that's what I did.
Incredible.
But it's but things like Canva really help, don't they?
phenomenal.
Canva Pro is amazing. I wouldn't be without it.
I actually, for many years, I used Canva, and we do a lot of training, up and down the country, and sometimes in different countries and stuff with social media. And they'd always ask the question, should we get Canva Pro? And just to say, we're not sponsored or affiliated with Canva in any way within this channel. But what I will say is that I used Canva for years and years and years, and always said, well, no, it's good enough to not use the Pro. And then once I got the Pro, oh my goodness, it was like a complete game changer. Lucy, I just want to bring in, we've got LinkedIn user. I think this is probably because it's not connected on LinkedIn or not. I just want to bring up this comment. It says, funny enough, I'm great at cooking, but I can't oven cook to save my life. My biggest issue is I sometimes forget things are hot in the oven. Oh my goodness. So I'll go to pick pans out, all fun and games. Whoever that is, please, drop the names. But yeah, that please be safe. Within that, I always have the problem of turning the oven, forgetting the oven's on. So I'll have some food and stuff, and then I'll go out 20 minutes, half an hour later, and it'll just still be buzzing and on. So but yeah, be safe. I just wanted to share that.
That's what your wife's for, right?
No, I'd never say that. Yeah, but I'm blessed with the amount of support that I have, Lucy. Honestly, I'm humbled with the amount of support that I have.
And I think that that's part of it, isn't it? If you've got the right support behind you, it makes all the difference.
I think and that's one of the things that I wanted to come on and speak to you about as well, is that element of support network, that kind of someone's asked me before, what kind of skills would you say that neurodiversity, if you say, because I found out I had dyslexia and ADHD, and I guess we're always kind of searching, some people say about superpowers, some people are against using the terminology superpowers, but we're always kind of thinking, what's kind of giving you that, the difference within dyslexia. And I guess the biggest thing for me is being able to communicate, because even though sometimes it's quite ironic, really, because sometimes the written word can be difficult to actually communicate. Maybe it could be bad spelling. Maybe I couldn't, elaborate the certain way that I want to come across, maybe on paper. But the communication side of it and building that community and network of not just amazing people, but also people who can support. And I guess, I never really realized I was doing this. I've been doing it all my life. And all the people that I kind of speak to say the same, the similar thing. We almost kind of create the people around us that can kind of help and support, and maybe in areas that we may struggle with. And they kind of, have you found that, Lucy, with yourself?
I think, yeah, definitely. And I think that, without my university friends and lecturers and family, there's no way I would have got through my degree, because they really help you. And I think about having that support network is really important. But I also think, you make friends with people who are like you. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So by the nature of my kind of character, personality, I'm going to be friends with similar types of people.
Yes.
So I think that definitely helps.
Yeah, no. I totally agree. I mean, I found out I was dyslexic at the age of 36. I kind of look back on my corporate career, and I look back on maybe, school and all these different parts of my life where now I think to myself, I don't kind of make friends with people and think, they could help me with this and this and this. It's almost like subconsciously we connect, and then it's a case of we harness, your skills and then someone else's skills, or, and that's kind of how I found now, the amazing people that I have around me. All gives that kind of, definitely gives that.
Yeah, you don't become friends with somebody because you think, they can help me with that.
Sometimes it can be, the absolute opposite in some aspects, because I guess, not saying we can become stubborn in this sense, but if we take a task, sometimes, like you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you said sometimes we over engineer something, or we know it's going to be difficult, so we really kind of go all in to make sure that it's nothing's left undone. So sometimes when you've got that mindset, it's difficult to let someone in to help, because then you think, well, actually, I want to be able to achieve this, myself. So sometimes that can be a double-handed sword.
Yeah, and I think, don't tell me I can't do something, because I'll prove you wrong.
That's like the worst thing someone can say, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Lucy, you did you also did a challenge, didn't you? Should I read? You sent me over when you said.
Oh yeah, remind me which one or which what.
So it
where
said.
we're at.
I'll just read my notes. But in 2008, I said it took on the biggest challenge, and you went on a month-long expedition to
Tanzania.
Tanzania, to reach the summit of Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, so I saw it was basically it was a school trip basically. Like absolutely
amazing,
incredible. But it completely changed my life. Before I went, I was like a lot less confident, and basically when I came back, I felt like I could take on the world.
amazing.
You know, if I could do that, I could do anything.
Yeah.
And I think I think if anybody got the chance to do something that they think they couldn't do, always go for it, because you never know like what's going to happen after it.
Absolutely.
So basically we went on a month-long trip to Tanzania. There was 14 of us in my group, and there were 2 groups of us that went. I was 15 at the time. I had my 16th birthday out there.
Wow, that's quite young.
Yeah. And like it's obviously the first kind of big trip. I'd always been away from home and stuff, but it was the first big trip that I'd done. And so we did some acclimatization. Went with the Maasai. What else did we do then? We went to do some project work in the school to help build the dining room.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then obviously I never in a million years thought I'd reach the top of Kilimanjaro. Never in a million years. It was more of a case of go and do and try, see what I could do, rather than go and reach the top.
That's incredible, honestly.
Yeah. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, it is the hardest thing I've done, and it is the hardest thing I will ever do.
Wow. But what an experience, Lucy.
Yeah.
And not only an experience, but to have that reward, that personal reward of being able to achieve such an incredible challenge. But I guess it would have been so many life skills as well that you would have learnt by going away and being part of a community of people that
yeah, absolutely. Like there's so many skills that and just that kind of like I said to you before, that kind of, okay, I can do X. If I can do X, then I can definitely do this. Or it kind of gives you that mindset that you can achieve anything you want to, and that nothing should stop you. And yes, things might need to be adapted a little bit, or you might need to go round something 3 times before you do something. But actually, you will get there in the end, and your achievements mean so much more than just getting there first time, because they take so much longer.
I totally agree. So, what was the kind of the community like there? Were they all kind of because you said you had to build something,
a dining room.
A dining room.
We started.
What was that kind of like with the team?
It was like it's shocking, because you don't realize how much you have until you go somewhere like that, and you come back then, and I remember getting the bus back with the team, and we came back into where we left off, Colwyn Bay, and you think, God, we've got everything, and yet some of us we're still unhappy with what we have, even though we've got so much. These people are so happy, and yet I've got nothing.
I think it's without going into the kind of the realms of communalism, consumerism. In a sense, that's the correct word. We got there in the end. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I was incredibly blessed to go out to Kenya. I think 2 or 3 times prior to lockdown. To do to meet Phyllis and Nancy, who run the Rare Gem Talent School over in Nairobi, who do absolutely phenomenal phenomenal work, and off to Malawi as well to see the Able Foundation doing the work out in there. And I guess, I've always kind of thought about, we're very fortunate in the sense of organizations in the UK. We seem to be, there's some, well-established ones like the British Dyslexia Association, incredible organization. And then there's some phenomenal kind of little kind of parent group ones, not little, but, like smaller in that side of it. And we seem to have an abundance of different support. And I guess I was kind of blown away when I went to Kenya to see how dyslexia is perceived over in Kenya, as in, the fight that Phyllis and Nancy have to do to make it, across the country, and even more with Jiranji in Malawi. I mean, if you were kind of to mention dyslexia in Malawi, it's almost kind of literally unheard of. It's kind of just putting a pin in the map and just starting and saying, look, this is a word. This is something that we need to do. So, and I always thought, although there's so much to be done within the UK and we're doing some incredible stuff, in some of these other countries, it's such the beginning to spread that awareness.
Yeah, and like you say, we think we're not there. We're not there yet here in the UK, but over in developing countries, how much of a challenge must it be for the young people and the children over there and their families? Do their families understand what a challenge it is? Probably not.
I mean, if you ever, like you said before, you want to feel humbled, seeing the incredible work that they do and the battles that they have to get a child, the education side of it is incredibly humbling. So Lucy, you're now, if you tell us a little bit about what you do now as a kind of a day-to-day.
So I retrained as a social media manager and set up my own company, LK Digital Marketing. So I manage Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, Instagram. I engage with clients' audiences, and predominantly I work for therapists because that's my background. So I wanted to kind of niche in that kind of area. Because that's kind of where I feel most comfortable. So why wouldn't you? So that's kind of what I do now. On the side, I don't think I've mentioned this to you actually. I've started some kind of animal-assisted therapy.
Wow. Okay.
With Cariad Pet Therapy. We've got a puppy. Well, I say puppy. She's 2 years old. And we all know that every therapist's dream is to have a therapy dog. So when I saw this opportunity come up, I couldn't resist.
Wow.
We've done our first couple of visits.
Oh my goodness. How did that go? I bet that was quite emotional, wasn't it? How did that?
Yeah, very emotional. But we're going back every week now, hopefully, into a local hospital.
So what does that look like, Lucy? For some of the people that kind of not too sure what that kind of looks like and what the dog. I mean, I know the impact. There's an incredible school called Moon Hall School with a lady headmistress called Michelle Casson in Moon Hall School, and they work with children with dyslexia. The dyslexic school, phenomenal organization, and they have a dog that goes in and their dog, and it goes in and it helps relax students when they're in their either taking exams or even just in the in the classroom. It just kind of waddles through, and the amount of joy that brings to the child, and it helps them relax. For people not too sure about what it is that you do you want to just explain a little bit more? Because I'm always intrigued by this.
Yeah, so basically, so it's on a voluntary basis. So we go in voluntary. But at the moment, what as we do, well, the first visit, Nellie, my dog, was introduced to the staff, and don't tell Carrie I had pet therapy, but they asked if she could be let off the lead. So I said, we're not really meant to. But if she can't go anywhere and, it's only the staff, then yes, fair enough. And then I put her back on the lead then. Well, she had a good old explore of the office first to get all her energy out.
Yeah.
and they loved her there. So then I put her back on the lead, and basically we took her to patients' rooms because it's an inpatient ward for people with dementia and older adults. And some of the differences that they reported in the adults was incredible. You know, one woman who wasn't really engaging, hadn't talked since she'd been there, had actually smiled and gave Nelly a treat, which, you know, for somebody who hadn't really smiled and engaged, that's a big step. But I wouldn't have known that unless they'd reported it. Do you know what I mean? If they'd told me. And very similar stories, you know, we went into the kind of the main lounge, if you like, and, you know, they were giving Nelly fuss and treats, and, you know, and they were just loving it. And you think, well, if you're in hospital and the days are long, then, you know, it's something different, isn't it?
It is.
But to see that difference, you know, and just to bring a small smile. Like I said to them in the ward, I said, we're not here to change the world. I'm here to, you know, make a small smile in somebody's day.
Absolutely. How truly wonderful. And like you said, you are making a difference and making a help. You know, like I said, every little small contribution always amounts up to, you know, a big contribution. Is that something that, because you said it's on a voluntary basis, is that something that you've always been thinking about, or did you just kind of stumble upon an opportunity, or how did that come about?
So when we had Nelly, I thought, like the dream of kind of having a therapy dog is it could be a reality now. So I thought, I'll sit on it for a bit and see what happens, and kept sitting on it. And then I saw a random Facebook ad, you know how they randomly pop up. I hadn't been Googling anything or anything.
Like listening in.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? And then it said, Carriad Pet Therapy are looking for people, volunteers with their dogs. So basically, get in touch if you're interested. Well, I thought, I'm not going to let this opportunity go. And we went for an assessment, and she passed, and, you know, they were really happy with her, and yeah.
And the rest is history. So you're going to continue doing that?
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully we'll go to this one hospital. I think they said every week. But I do have to take into account that I am still working.
I was going to say, yeah, if you still need to do your day job and everything else. But Lucy, that's, you know, truly incredible. You know, giving back and helping. You know, and like you said, sorry, please go on.
No, I think as well, I realized like how much animals can help, because when I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue following glandular fever, and we started to foster cats, and they made a huge difference. So I wanted to kind of give something back to that kind of area.
Yeah. I agree, but, you know, I've always been a massive pet lover, and you know, from anything from dogs to cats to guinea pigs to rabbits. You know, and I guess because I've grown up with dogs, I just, you know, it always feels a little bit odd if I don't have, a dog with me. But I guess it's that, you know, because they've said as well, haven't they, with dogs, you know, they can kind of sense, and again, you know, they can help massively with kind of depression. I mean, you know, if you are depressed, then obviously you would need to go and see a doctor. You don't just obviously, you know, seek out that. But generally, you know, a dog almost kind of relaxes that kind of stress of, you know, that kind of. I think I read an article where it's a case of, you know, if you a dog and then you sort of smoothing the dog, and it kind of lowers either the blood pressure, or it just, you know, it kind of puts you in that kind of calming state. You know, and it's amazing. I just. Yeah, I truly think, you know, dogs are just really incredible.
And coming back onto what you said about dogs sensing things, we actually went to see a palliative care patient for the first time, and Nelly was so different on the first time to the second time. Her behaviour completely changed. She knew.
Wow.
So it's a weird one, but she definitely knew. You know.
I don't even think we've touched the kind of the sides on how incredible dogs can be, and
No, I don't think so either.
What they can do and sense, and you see this all the time, don't you? Dogs in airports and in medical wards and in everything, and it just seems that they are just a truly incredible pet. Well, not pet, incredible animal. Sorry,
Well, she's an incredible pet to me as well.
I know. I just try to think, but yeah. I mean, and it's funny when you said pups as well. He's two. He's not really a puppy. I've got two little Jackadoodles, Jack Russell and
Jackadoodles.
So, yeah, but they're really tiny, and they're about 13 years old now, 12, 13 years. Every time you take them out, everyone, seems to think, oh, it's puppies.
Yeah.
It's almost like they've just found, the fountain of youth. They just look like puppies. Lucy, we're coming up to the end of our time. Like I said, I did say to you, it will go in incredible.
That's gone really fast, doesn't it?
It does. It absolutely zooms through. Lucy, if people want to get in contact with you, how's the best? How best? I'll put my teeth back in. Can they get in contact with you?
Yeah. So my email is contact@lkdigitalmarketing.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, my name is Lucy Kemish, so I'm on there on LinkedIn as that. Please connect with me. It'll be great to kind of get to know more people. I'm always up for connecting and networking.
Absolutely, Lucy. I before we go, actually, I just want to ask a question. How important, has kind of digital marketing been? I'd say, and again, you don't have to answer this. It's just kind of flown in. But in obviously the current lockdown, not current lockdown in this country, but the lockdown that we've had, where we couldn't go physically out to events and everything else. How important would you have said that digital marketing has been to your business or other businesses that you've looked at?
I would say it's been vital for businesses that can't operate. Obviously they can run things online. They can send out invitations online. So I know a local business to me that's actually stopped. Well, they've got the option of face-to-face or online, because they said they were spending so much time traveling that actually they were seeing less and less clients because of the traveling. So actually they're more productive. They can see more clients. For me, I predominantly work online. So all my meetings are online, not face-to-face. So I can work with anyone in the world. It's brilliant.
I think that does open up, because when we went into the kind of the first lockdown in the UK, we were doing a lot of work globally with our dyslexia work that we were doing, myself and my partner, and then obviously everything come to a halt. So we then created our global network, where we would do, instead of doing outside, we would do in online networking, which was phenomenal. And again, obviously creating the Neurodiversity Stories as well. But it's been for me, I guess it's been, although I've worked with different countries a lot with the work that I've been doing, the reach over the past kind of year, I always like to try and take a positive from something, but I'd say I completely understand everything that's gone on and sympathize with a lot of things going on, but generally the amount that I've been able to kind of reach, and I'm sure you have, is been phenomenal. I don't know if
and I think people have just known the importance of it, haven't they? That actually you do need an online presence, and there's no getting away from it, that if you can't see somebody face to face, how else are they going to know that you're there?
Yeah, I totally agree, Lucy. It's been absolutely incredible speaking to you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I will put all the details for any of your websites and everything else all in the blurb on this. And if you are listening to this on podcast or watching it on YouTube, please do check out the comments at the bottom, and we'll be able to see all the blurbs. Lucy, I want you to have an incredible rest of the Friday. Do you have a busy day ahead of you?
Yes. It's always busy.
Well, I will let you you go now. You're free to go. Thank you so much again for coming on to.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Have an amazing rest of the Friday, an amazing weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Take
All
care.
right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. guys, that was Lucy. I hope you enjoyed another episode of Neurodiversity Stories. Please do connect with Lucy. Like I said, all her details will be on all of the blurb, the contact, the comments, whatever it is that you call it to connect with them. She is doing incredible work, and she's a fantastic person to connect with. So please do connect. Thank you again to Claro Writing Helper for sponsoring this channel. We'll be back next Friday with another Neurodiversity Stories. Have an amazing rest of the Friday. Great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.